Hello and welcome. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Look, I'm festive. I wasn't even sure I was going to do a stream today, and we're doing a stream. We are live. Hopefully, I forgot to check. I was going to make sure the actual tweet went out and the links are live. I think I scheduled that yesterday, so making sure that is up. But welcome. Okay, we've got Streambots working. I don't know why. I noticed last week Streambot just didn't show up. This is also unusual because I'm doing back-to-back week broadcasts instead of doing the things. All right, so did this go out? We're live in just a few minutes. Oh, okay. The one 6 minutes ago did not have the link on it. I should put the link to it. So let me put the link to this here so people can. All right. There we go. We got folks joining us. Welcome. See, yeah, y'all don't need the link in the tweet. You know where we're at. I'm just posting the I'm adding a reply to actually I guess a reply won't even most people won't see it, but that's fine. .com / vector35 is their new syntax /live. I do like though that you don't have to predict the link, right? Okay, so yeah, welcome everybody. Hope everyone's having a good December. Weather's good. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, let's. Okay, this is a good broadcast. I'm excited by this. We have, also, is this? Yeah, it's working. We have there's a bunch of people in the office in there. We're gonna bring them in. We're gonna have this be like a kind of team party stream. So welcome, Robert and reverse engineering. You gotta like give us a more descriptive name than that, so we know who it is. Valgrind, Rico, ZMO, C Carpenter, C Carp, as we're used to in Slack, and Havard. Help me, how do you pronounce your name? I would love to get that right. But welcome everybody. We're gonna be talking about everything that's coming out in 3.3. We're probably also gonna then clip this and turn it into like a shorter video that we can let folks see it. Yeah, we should have lots of it. So this is actually a really quick turnaround. So we almost released this even in what month is this? December. So the actual release date of this is going to be in January. But we were really close to, like, if we're not kind of all on holiday for half the month, we probably would have pushed this out a little bit earlier. But if you look at the milestones and we look at the change log, so we can see this is the next release. We're calling it 3.3 or Arrakis. These are some of the ones that are still open, although actually a number of these are done on testing, and we're going to show it off today actually. So oh, is Thomas Ari? Oh yeah, welcome Thomas. Oh, are you watching both streams then? Because is Sergey still streaming? Yeah, I didn't even want to post the link in the Discord because I felt bad. All right, you're fine, Valgrind. I'll just stall for you till you get back. Listen, the teacher's here, so y'all can't leave. If I was 15 minutes late, right? The school rule is y'all get out, but it just means you have good taste, right? You guys are in the same stuff. So, okay, so this is 3.3 that's gonna be coming out. The actual due date isn't listed here. You know what? I think I have the actual due date. I guess this will be the first official announcement of that. The scheduled release date is, it's not there. Code freeze. I guess it'll be like the third week of January, if I'm looking at this right. Hold on, I'm gonna go yell at Peter real quick because he needs to know. Like, we're supposed to have that in the table. Hey, Peter, in the release table of dates, we don't actually have the date. We have a code freeze. We'll actually have launch. So you should update the wiki. Okay. All right, so I reminded him about that. Oh wait, I gotta make sure I'm do not disturb on here. Oh, linking anyways. I appreciate it, Thomas. I was gonna not link. I felt bad because I didn't want to. Yeah, no. Like you're. All right. So yeah, no. If you haven't already heard him, one of our other streams, make sure also check out OA Labs, who does a lot of malware reverse engineering, lots of good stuff. But I think he's over there on Twitch streaming now as well. So yeah, but we got a bunch of stuff to show off. So let's see. Let's look at the list. We're gonna bring in some of the developers. They're gonna come and hang out with me, and we're gonna talk about some of these features. So if you've got Q&A for people, yes, SEH Prolog gonna make it. In fact, we're gonna demo it. It's yeah, it's on my list right here. Okay, so that'll be one of the things we're gonna demo. So got a bunch of stuff we're gonna like demo off. These are everything here in this list. And actually, hold on, I got a few more things I realized that need to be on this list. So yeah, MSVCRT is done. Peter is working on pushing the latest update to it, but the typelib stuff got really good. He's got some stats for me that I'll pull up when we talk about that one. Name snapshots. This one's enterprise only, so unless you're an enterprise customer, that won't be as relevant, but it's nice. Just lets you view like, kind of summaries and get log and file change log and things. So that's, what do we got? Function outlining for constant arrays. This one's really good. The name, we keep arguing on the name. We don't know exactly what we're going to do for the name on this. So name TBD, but features already on dev. You can play with it. We'll look at that. Of course, just better Objective-C. I think it's pretty straightforward for some of the newest, like Ventura binaries in particular. They look real bad without some of the recent changes, and they look great with them. So we've got that. And this one's a little opaquely named. We'll talk about the analysis improvements there. Of course, we already mentioned SEH. I actually hadn't seen this yet, so I've got the binary, got the test, and I've got the build, but I haven't looked at that one yet. We showed the enum on constant last week, so we've already kind of got that one demoed. Debugger is live. That I don't think we're going to demo this week now, but just in terms of like what's coming out in 3.3, that's one of them. So yeah, exactly. Debugger is like on. It's a lot more stable. Please use it. Let us know any kind of feedback. Which update for parsing? I'm not sure which one you mean, but for the like the type parser with Clang. I should remember. That's right. I remember you were on. Yeah, I should remember, Thomas, your handle, because I think you were on last week and reminded me then. It's a lot to remember. That's my excuse. What else we got? Oh, and then another one. There's a new one that is, I think it's on dev. I think it just landed on dev. So we're gonna check this one out, which is create array dialog. So brand new feature. It's been rewritten like 3 times internally. Somebody else was previously working on it. I started working on it, and then neither one of ours were bug free enough and clean enough, and so John, who's one of our interns, like part-time intern, but he's like the UI person who does a lot of UI design, took a crack at it just over the last couple of days. So we'll talk about that. So we got a whole big list of features. Let's start with parameter rejection, call site argument heuristic improvements. So Ryan Snyder worked on this one. He is not here. He actually was in the office and then just headed out to catch a flight. So he kind of gave me the rundown. The summary of this, like the short summary, is that if you've ever noticed Binary Ninja getting like the number of arguments wrong on some functions, and I've got on the right, I've got the current stable, and on the left, I have the latest dev, right? So this is how current dev behaves, and this is how current stable behaves, and obviously it looks better, right? It's clearly cleaner in terms of the arguments here, but we'll talk a little bit like how this happens and why this happens. To note, this is a statically compiled binary, so it's a static libc with intentionally one without any kind of signature library. So the whole point is we don't know a correct exact definition for this function. Like it's relying on our heuristic implementation to solve this. So of course, like one way we can have better accuracy is we'll just ship more libraries or ship more signature databases where we can exactly match the type info, and then we can say yes, it has exactly this many parameters. Here's the names, whatever. So that's yes, the perfect way to do it, but this is an improvement to our heuristic analysis. Like in situations where we don't know the exact number and we're trying to kind of guess when things are like registers, are they used in that function? Are they not? Are they arguments or are they not? If you don't know exactly how many parameters things take, you can kind of just guess and be wrong. And so what this improvement does is that it basically, what it used to do is the like one function way in the bowels of one of these other functions would have no type information, and it would kind of guess the number of arguments, and then that being wrong would propagate, would cascade, like this cascading failure would come back all the way up. So yes, interns are good. We have very good interns here too. So was it actually requested yesterday? That's fantastic. Well then, good timing, because actually, in fact, I think well, yeah, we'll do one feature at a time. We'll get to that one. So like obviously you can just see like on the face of it that this is cleaner, better, more accurate analysis. And again, like even on this old one, like if we wanted to fix this, we could literally just fix the number of arguments ourselves and be like, no, actually, I know for sure there are only 4 arguments, right? And that cleans that up. Like, yes, that's the sort of like fix in general when the analysis is wrong, is you just inform it and you tell it. That's great. I'm gonna do that. But like the whole point is that you have to do that in fewer cases now. So that's really nice. Let's actually go to, for example, free, which is one of the functions that's like further on in the call tree from these things. And we can see part of what happened is this jump racks here is the analysis thought like maybe there's a switch statement here. Maybe I'm missing code blocks that could have other calls that have other arguments, and therefore I have to be conservative about how many arguments are used. And then that was what was propagating up. So that's kind of one of the root causes that we were seeing happen, is that there's a call, we don't know if we got all the code. And so just Benja was like, well, let's make sure we don't lose any arguments. But after kind of a lot of testing, we realized like actually we should probably be a little bit more conservative. Now, ironically, in this particular case, if we just look at this code, you can actually see this Rax1 it's literally either one of two things. So we actually should just be able to fix our switch table detection to be able to be like, no, actually we know for a fact all the different code bases or all the different basic blocks that this could do. So you see the tag here is like unresolved indirect control flow. Like there's a chance, I don't know where this can go. Obviously just looking at the decompilation, we absolutely should be able to do that because there's only one of two things. Actually, it's not even one of two things. It's always that, right? I don't think there's a path through here that's not that. So that's just something that will get fixed on its own. But the nice thing is, in the meantime, it's a great example of where this analysis can be wrong. So if I look at, for example, the cross references here on free, and I look at on stable again, so this is stable on the right, and I mean, it's just obviously you can see right off the bat, like this is free gone wild over here. Look at all the spoils on the arguments that it could have set. And again, this is because the analysis was just being overly cautious, and it's potentially less likely to be wrong, right? Because like sometimes you could have an argument that was coming out that it didn't know about. But in most cases, this is going to be way better output, and because of those sort of cascading errors. But you also see it's not entirely perfect. Like I think there was a couple of like, here's a free where it shows no arguments, and obviously free is going to take one argument. And again, we can fix this by just hitting Y on it and being like, yes, please set that guess type. And actually notice the colors changed. It went from like, I've auto detected this, I think I'm right, but it could allow different ones. And then now if we look, we don't see that that free with no arguments, because now we've set the type, we've got a high confidence, and it will actually fix all the updates analysis. So yes, you always could have done that, but now it's kind of automatic and smarter and better. One of the things we want to do is as much as possible make sure like our heuristic analysis or our like program analysis doesn't need hints as much. We try to do that, although obviously if you've got correct information, you should totally use it. So in cases here, like where it's a static libc, yeah, just apply the type information, and that would be another way to do it, right? Exactly match that function. Or we could do something janky like, oh, it's just, the type is, the symbol is free, and let's just assume it looks like a standard, free ellipse, but that can have lots of other problems if you get stuff wrong. So we don't currently do that for a statically compiled libc. Okay, so that was feature number 1, which is the parameter rejection call site argument heuristic improvements. Like I said, practically speaking, what you're going to see is just far more accurate return values and arguments for functions where we don't have type libraries already. And of course, again, you could always fix by just putting the correct type. And half the time the typelet's already correct, and you could just set it with higher confidence, and then it wouldn't do this sort of heuristic call analysis. The other situation is that like variadic functions, this gets triggered a lot, right? So if you have a printf, it actually has to do this analysis all the time anyways. It has to figure out how many arguments are on the spot. And there is a plugin, by the way, I think we showed it off last week in the plugin manager, that will use the format string specifiers themselves to get the correct number of arguments. So that's one fix for specifically, that family of functions. But anytime there's other variadic functions, that will also be improved now too, right? Even without something like that can exact match the parameters. So, okay, let's go to improved Objective-C as one of our next features. It's coming out in 3.3. And I think, again, this one's on dev. So let's actually close. This is dev right here. Yeah, so we're on dev. So let's close this down. And I think we're going to, so there's a couple of different, so actually a couple things we have to do. This is a good note. Right now, and this actually I think it's on the roadmap to be improved, but it requires us to have some changes to workflows that are still under development, where it will automatically apply the right workflow. But if I just search for Objective, it's enabled by default. The plugin is loaded by default. But what you can do is you need to change like the specific analysis, or you don't have to do it like as your default setting. You could also, so for example, if I go to this IVARs one, and there's a before and after. Actually, I think, I don't remember if I have to enable this one by default. I could probably read. Kat did a great job and wrote up a README. But I'm just gonna turn this on just to make sure it's a default. But you can also, like, if you have a raw file you're opening, open with options, and then you can specify that workflow, right? So if I, Control Shift click this or go to File, Open with Options, and then you can go to Workflows, and you can change the function workflow just for a single open, right? So you don't have to change your default settings. But in this case, let's go back to that. So let's see, IVARs, and let's look for let's go after over here, and then we're going to go open before over here. And let me make sure I'm reading my notes right. Do I have the notes for this? All right, so this is IVARs. And now I'm not an Objective-C person. Oh, wait, John's here. We should bring John in. So we've got John. So John and Kat are the two main authors of this. I wonder if John has looked at this stuff. So let me see if he wants to join us. Hey, John, you want to talk about Objective-C? You can say no.
I don't know much of like what changed.
It's up to you. I have notes. I'm going to be reading through them, but you don't have to. All right, John. John's going to come back in later when we're talking about the array dialog. Okay. So let's actually look at this. So for the IVARs, let's see. All right, dictionary controller class. So, okay, I just need to go to dictionary controller, then with selection. So if I look for like dictionary controller with selection, and just as a note, again, if you just type a word, space, another word, it's going to do like look for both keywords essentially. So that's a good clean way to quickly do something. So dictionary with selection, and I'm hitting Control B to hide the symbol list, right? So B to do that, which is just nice for the side-by-side view, which, if you're not demoing off before and after image, it may or may not be as important. Welcome, Fox. Hello. Okay, so only dictionary control. Okay, so there was like one modified. Oh, good. Welcome, Kat. Glad you're here. So you can correct it when I say incorrect things. All the mistakes are mine. And everything that works well is because good work she did. So here is the with selection. I mean, okay, so I know, again, like I said, I know nothing about the specifics of these changes, but if you do Objective-C stuff, yeah, we can see this is clearly garbage and this is clearly correct. So I'm going to say, yeah, I can see the difference there where we've improved. And I don't know, is this, yeah, so I don't actually even know what IVARs are, but there we go. They've gotten better. And we can see it right there. That was number one. The other big change was the chained fix-ups. And I think chained fix-ups in particular, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see that right there, right? So yeah, I definitely see that. There's improvements where there was like a structure reference, but we're seeing it as just like an offset versus actually correctly IDing. Oh, okay, right. So they're accessing the LVARs, is it like, it's not local vars, is that wonder what that stands for? But yeah, member variables in Objective-C. Yeah, that's what it looks like right there, right? So it's a self, so this is just self dot resuming cache essentially. So cool, this looks good, All right, and now the other one is there's a before and after from the calculator. Right, this is the one. So I mentioned earlier, this is the one where, so if I open unstable, the chained fix-ups. This is the one where Ventura, because Apple in their infinite wisdom really likes to change the file format and the compiler behavior for major releases a lot. I complain, but I also use Apple products everywhere, so I can't complain too much. So before and after here. So this is, yeah, so there were basically fix-ups of like just the way that the file format did like a, were they like relative load, I wonder? Let's see here. All right, so let's just kill the, so and again, this is the calculator. This is one of the binaries for the calculator on a Ventura x64 machine. So it looks like we're not looking at the unarm input slice, but so let's go. Actually, let's go here. Top constraint. All right, so we're the same function. Oh yeah, again, fairly obvious difference, right? Like not even knowing exactly how these chain fix-ups work. This is clearly trash, and this is clearly significantly better. We don't have this at all. I thought the message send stuff got rewritten by the Objective-C plugin too. Where we would see like a LCD view remove constraint on this one. I mean it's still, and then add constraint. But yeah, okay. So I would say that's clearly a one of these things is not like the other, and looks pretty obvious. All right. So if you're working on the latest Mach-O, I know Fox, I'm sorry. I even already apologized in the Discord. It is the hardcore people I think just pull both streams up, and then they are just really good at. Yeah, this one was a surprise. I wasn't planning on doing this one until just a few days ago when I decided we'd throw it together just because we want to get like and so yeah, to step back, what we're doing is we are starting to do like a release process. We kind of took inspiration from like how Apple will do like we've got a new thing coming out. Here's what's going to be in it, and we're going to show off all the features. And we're using it as an internal cutoff for if you have a major feature, if you have a feature that is going to be in this release, it's got to be in a demoable form. It doesn't have to be even on dev. It can be on a test branch. We'll look at a couple more features later that are not like on dev yet, but they're really close. We can show it off. We can still talk about it, so people know what to expect, and then they know when it's going to hit stable, right? So this is kind of the plan here. Instead of just like having just a huge list of issues to go through or waiting until it's live. And then like this way, at least if there's a feature that impacts you. So if you do analysis of Mach-O files on Objective-C, actually, is this even this is the, I assume this is a feature specifically to Objective-C and not just a Mach-O change to Ventura, but I don't know. Maybe it's also other languages. But either way, it's obviously cleaned up right here. So that's, again, that was from Kat. The reverse gut loader using gut loader. Oh, is that the one that Sergey's doing? I haven't looked at it. I am gonna at some point we should do like a simultaneous or like a joint stream or something. That'd be kind of fun. And I just try to follow along and do Binja stuff. Yeah, so okay, great. Those look really good. All right, let's go through some more features that are improved between dev and stable that don't require test branches. So I've kind of organized these things this way. Okay, this is one of my favorites. Okay, so this is a great one. I think this one kind of snuck in. I may have even talked about it last week. I believe this is Poppy. I'm not sure about that name, but let's take a look at this. So again, looking at dev on the left and stable on the right. And what I'm looking for, okay, yeah, so the easiest way to do this actually is if you go to either, there's a couple ways you can use. You can just scroll to the top and you can see all the segments and sections there. Or you can bring up the memory map view, right? So if you bring a memory map, but I'm just going to scroll to the top because it lets me, when I'm doing this side by side, way I don't have to worry about the sidebars being, oh yeah, there's another bug obviously you can tell we fixed where libraries here, although interesting. Oh, right, no, it's the wrong file. Like, why are the libraries so different? Because you're not looking at the same file, Jordan. All right, let's try to open up that actual file this time. Turn that off, go to the top. But there is actually that bug that got fixed as well, where the text would scroll off to the right. That is fixed on dev. So if I open up that other file, we would see that. All right, but if we look here, oh, right. Nothing is different, right? And the reason nothing is different is because I didn't turn the feature on yet. So I think this is part of the thing here. Outline? Yeah, there we go. So if you search for outline in the settings, this one is still a little bit of a experimental feature, which is why it's disabled for now. But that's going to change. So just that's on dev. Sometimes we'll ship things. Yeah, I could have done open with options for it. In this particular case, I'm just going to turn the setting on, then reopen the file. And again, that setting doesn't even exist on stable, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, now, if you'll notice, oh wait a minute, you know what? I just said it was fixed, and then it does look like it goes a little over. I wonder if that's. I could have sworn we fixed that. All right, let me make a note. In the header. All right, so yeah, I thought that was fixed. Maybe not. All right, but here's the game. Let's play the game. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Wait, what is this? Oh, that's right. Another new feature. I forgot this is on dev too. Yeah, the linear view. This is the linear view header. So if you're in a function, it always shows the function that you're in up top, which is really nice when you're like a big function and you don't want to like remember where you are, or you could have changed this thing down here to be like function plus offset display, where it actually shows you the function there. Anyway, it's not just up top, which is it's always shown. So that's another feature that's on dev. I totally forgot about that one. We didn't make a specific thing to test it, but it looks a little weird up here though. I wonder, yeah, the problem is right now it doesn't turn itself off because it gets a little weird as you scroll past. You'd have it like appearing and disappearing as you went between functions. So because we do a thing that literally nobody else does, we can have our decompilation for all of our functions and just scroll through them all the way that they are in the binary. Like that's literally not something any other RE tool does. You just can't do that in anything else. And it's really nice for just kind of quickly scrolling through stuff. But it also means that we have like to figure out like that display up top becomes a little bit weirder if you're not currently in a function, like if you're in some kind of dead space. So anyway, back to the question at hand is the debugger should still work. In fact, it's been rewritten. It's got a bunch of bugs that are fixed. If you're not, Amir, if you're not on the latest dev, definitely make sure you're on the latest dev. And that you, in fact, you can uninstall any plugins. If you have the old plugin, the Python one, uninstall that. The latest development version of Ninja has a bunch of changes in the debugger, and it's now enabled by default, so it'll just be on, which is why as well you'll notice the latest dev version has debugger turned on, and the stable did not. So that should be. I try to be energetic. I don't know. Is this me trying to be on like the TikTok? Yeah, and thanks Brian for pointing that out. Right. So it's disabled again just temporarily before the next stable release. This will be turned on. Brian's been cranking away. He's got a couple other things that are not currently in it. Is working through some test cases. So just like for context, when we're doing something that changes how analysis happens, we're always gonna run it through a corpus of binaries, and anytime there's like significant changes, we have to hand review those just to make sure, are they better or are they worse? If they're worse, why? Is it a bug in the thing we changed, or did we just expose another bug? And then, how do we always want to make every commit better before it lands on dev. And so that's why it's just turned off by default, so we can ship it. There's there to play with. But okay, I'm waiting for somebody to point out. I want somebody who's not Brian on the stream to figure out what is different about the old one here versus the new one. There's something. It's not. I don't think it's hard to find. I'm gonna see if somebody can figure this one out. But Amir, so while people are answering that, hopefully in chat, we'll wait for Streamlag to catch up. Amir, if you do have problems and you've got specific things that cause the debugger to crash or things that seem particularly slow, if you can share the files that you're testing on, great. Or if you can do it on a test file and reproduce it, definitely file an issue. So Shusheng, who works on that, has been working on the debugger nonstop for quite a while now. So he's cranking through bugs, working on things. Definitely definitely do that. And if I don't have soda, by the way, Robert, it's coffee or caffeine. Usually I'll have a something. Although, the funny thing is, I don't actually need the caffeine at this point. Like I usually have like one or I'll have like a chai in the morning and a coffee, but VS Valgrind, it is the fake section. Some people already saw it, but that is what it is. So you were right for mentioning it, even if it so if I double click the address here and go down to the fake section, this didn't exist before. So this is the new feature that some people already have seen it, but I just never assumed that everybody's got it. And the best part is I'm actually gonna close down stable here because it just well, actually here, let's minimize it. We'll leave it open. So we can go back and forth for it. But let's look at, like, for example, stir copy, and we can see there's a whole bunch of built-in stir copies. So there's like a made-up imaginary stir copy. You've seen, like, IDA does this as well. I know, like, they'll have their own like show something as a stir copy even though it's not. It is actually like a static something assembled into like a stacked variable, or from immediate instructions into an address. And so if we, by comparison, if we go back to the other binary ninja, and we go to, I'm hitting Control Shift A to copy an address, and then we go to that address. In this case, we just see like these references, and like, yeah, it's a string reference, but it looks like we're accessing a pointer of that, and the first, like, the string out, like this is not very readable. It's not clear what's going on. And this one actually just shows it. Look, we're doing a stir copy. Essentially, we're doing the equivalent of a stir copy over there, and we can see here's another one. So let's take a look at this one. Go to this offset. Now I copied the wrong thing. 1F13A. There we go. So again, this one's, see, it's just R12. Okay, so this one's not that bad because you can kind of see what it was doing before. But it will also, let's see. I think Brian said the mem copy has some, or mem sets. Oh, that's an interesting one. Let's look at some of the mem set ones. So let's go here. What does this look like if we, I'm like, am I not hitting the right? Okay, Control Shift A. There we go. Yeah, that's a great example, right? That's a much cleaner improvement. You can see the before, pretty gross. And the after shows that we're writing a -1 to that variable. We're initializing it that way. So that's much improved. $39.25. Wait, which build? Oh, it did come out. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. It wasn't available as I started the stream. It was still going through the infrastructure. So thank you for the reminder, though, letting me know, because I was going to run into that here in a few minutes when I tried to demo and it didn't work. But yeah, so this new detection of make sure I'm muted over here. This new detection of these memsets, stir copies, mem compares is, like I said, there's more work kind of coming behind it, but it's really nice. It produces a lot cleaner decompilation. So, there are some good stir and copy ones. Okay, let me go back to, let me look back to that. So let's go back to this section. Let's look at the, sure, end copy. Yeah, there we go. That's one of the ones I was looking for too. So let's find some better ones here, and look at it before and after here. Let's check this one out. Something is, I'm not hitting the hotkeys right here. Yeah, see, 55. Yep, pretty gross. Pretty gross. Significantly cleaner, where it's, putting them together, combining them into a single operation. Oh, there we go. That's a really good one too, though, down there. So it's, oh yeah, that's basically these. Yeah, much cleaner, and almost certainly closer to the original source code. So, yep, that's one of my favorites. I think that's definitely one that will actually make people's lives better, and it's going to continue to improve too. There's a couple of things that are coming with it, but it's already very nice. And I like it because it's easy to demo, because you can literally just look for all instances of this fake section that we've made. To find all these cross references, so you can find out all the places where it happened, and take a look at it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You can see this pretty clearly, choosing the right string to put into that structure. So, all right. Let's see. What else we got? All right, let's go back to our list. So we've got Objective-C, better support for IVARs for chain fix-ups in Ventura. We've got the parameter improvements. We've got, and yeah, like I said, this name, function outlining for constant arrays. I don't know. There's, the exact name is TBD. There's still some debates going on, and I haven't even looked into it close enough to have an opinion here. So okay, we've already talked about the debugger being live as well. I don't think I'm going to I don't think I'm going to demo the debugger again now unless people really want to. So if you want to see it again, we can look at it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can turn these off. Yeah, sorry, Valgrind. But yeah, there we go. We'll leave that off for a bit now. Oh, wow, that's cool. So I'm just reading Brian's comment that some of these examples actually had shared basic blocks. So it's, yeah, that's pretty tricky then to reassemble those. So Robert, I'll have to look at that a little bit later. Excuse me, I'm curious. So a control flow graph optimization. So when you talk about a CFG optimization, do you mean just sort of visually, like you want to be able to like visually rearrange or fold or do like organizations, or do you mean the API, you want the ability to like automatically do stuff? So some of that is kind of possible now, like with the workflow API, you can do rewriting of ILs. It's not like super trivial, but you can do it. And yeah, I'm curious what you mean by the if else nesting. If you've got a sample binary that you can drop in Slack or in Discord or email or something with an offset, and I will probably actually pass that along to somebody else in the team, because anything that has to do with like actual analysis improvements, I'm not the one that does it, right? I just talk about it. So okay, let's okay, yeah, if you've got either a GitHub issue to point out or an example, let me know. All right, so okay, let's do create array dialog actually, because I want to do all the ones that are on dev now, and now that I've restarted my dev, I should be there. So let's do create array dialog, and this one's pretty easy because you don't really need anything to demo it except you just pick some bytes. So you've always been able to in Binary Ninja. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious, these bytes kind of being aligned this way usually means there's something in between. There's basic blocks of code in between, and this is the data just kind of being split up. But we always align it so the same byte is always at the same column offset, which is why it kind of looked weird and chunky like this. But again, this is because we're showing bytes interspersed between code blocks. This is probably like literally just padding. Like I'm sure if I just disassemble this as XC4, it's going to be like a not variant. Yep. So right, it's just literally padding there. So that's what we're seeing there. But if I go find, let's go turn back on feature map. Let's show that. Let's just go find some data over here, right? So you've always had the ability in Binge. Oh, actually, let's restart. Restart to actually get the latest update. Or I would find out that I wasn't on the right build yet. Go back to that same binary. Let's go back over here. So if I just select a bunch of files, I could always hit like 1 to make something with a charge, or 2, whatever size that I wanted, 1, 2, 4, 8, and then I can hit asterisk to turn it into an array, right? So this has been behavior that's been built in for a while. Oh yeah, so Jorgi, the thing there was I made a new tab with Control N, and thank you for bugging me, because I usually try to say like hotkeys and things out loud when I do various things, and I forgot there. So I copied just some raw bytes. I literally just Control C those bytes that I thought was enough. I hit Control N, and if you're on a Mac, it'll be Command every time I say it, instead of every time I say Control. And then Control V to paste those bytes. And it's actually, in this case, it's actually doing it incorrectly because I think it's pasting them as a string. So if I think I do escape string, there we go. And that's actually, these are really nice if you're not super familiar with Binary Ninja. You can copy as and paste from, and you can do these really nice transforms. So like no matter what format the data that you want to copy it as, you can do that. So anyway, I just copy and then paste directly into a new file. It just gave me those raw bytes. And now I hit P. And P is to just make a function code. You know, like what do you want to make a function here? So there is a separate way to kind of just turn it into disassembly, but honestly, 9 times out of 10, just create a function there and let it disassemble it. So yeah, just hit P, let it do it, and then I got that. Yep. Sorry, yeah, I kind of blew through that really quick, and thanks Kat for answering that too. So okay, so the array here, right? This behavior has been here for a while, and I've just nothing new there. But like, what if, for example, you have like some interspersed things, you know, kind of here, and what you want to do is you're like, oh, I want all of this to be an array, and maybe this isn't like just an int64t, but it's actually like a struct or some other type, you know, that I've got applied here. I want to make an array of those. So that's the feature that just, hey, okay, it got added, it worked. But it's using the same hotkey. So you're still using that asterisk hotkey, but the difference is instead of selecting a range of stuff where it just knows make these things all the same, like if I do it here, because they're not all the same type, right? If these were all the exact same type already, which I could do by just hitting 8 first and then do that, it knows to make them an array. But if they're not, like if I've only got the first thing with a type and I got a bunch of other things and I can say like make that an array, it's a little more conservative. It won't just automatically make an array where there wasn't the same type there before. So it's going to say, all right, well, like here's where I'm currently at, and that hex address. I've got this type. How many of those do I want to add? And so I can, right now, there's only one option here. You can always just choose exact. The version in a couple days will basically say until next variable, right? So if you could just say, you know, you don't have to calculate it, and it would just automatically, at the start of this thing, I would say create an array, and it would be able to go automatically go down to that next data variable for me, or like the end of the section, or you know, I could say up until next section, or up until next variable, up until next anything, like if it's a code block or whatever it is. So it's a fairly simple feature. I mean, you've always been able to do this via either the hotkeys, or you can just select everything and you can hit Y and you can make a type and add, you know, create a type of whatever and give it or char is not a right name. Like you could always give it, it's also not a very good size. So you would always do it that way, right? Which is certainly still there, and a lot of people, you know, are welcome to do that. But this is a little bit cleaner because it can be smarter about recognizing where you want to go, and you could, you know, put the type there, and it will calculate. Oh, you wanted, you know, how many of those do you have, and so figures your offsets, or it'll automatically end it. So that's a little quality of life improvement. What I like about this though is it uses it's like not a new UI or menu that you have to find. It's literally just doing a thing you were already doing of being able to select stuff and hit asterisk. So like we're just reinforcing the same kind of hotkeys and things like that. So I really like that sort of model of one hotkey does the same thing, but in different contexts, maybe it's automatic, or maybe sometimes it lets you manually adjust it, right? Like another good example is the S key. You can hit S to create a structure, and if you do it in disassembly, it will actually, if you call it like on a malloc, it will be like, oh, I see you're calling malloc with the size. I'm going to make a new structure automatically of that size, give it a default name, put it in the analysis, and like you just hit S and it just does it for you. But if it doesn't have that information, it would say like, give me a name and then give me a size, and then you give it, you know, whatever the size is, and so it creates that structure there, kind of for you. And then you can do the same, you know, create your types in here via the numbers or Y or, you know, what other hotkeys that you want. So that's a great change. And that was the one that's been kind of rewritten several times. And that one is also live on latest dev, the create array dialog. This is a great one. Okay, so during the last release, which was originally our Windows release, we did improve our Windows type libraries a whole bunch. Let me go grab. So this is one actually I haven't looked at yet. Peter gave me some new stats. Where did he put these in? Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm just gonna bring over my Slack here, and you can see this directly. So I'm gonna dox us, dox the, and also all my VMs there. here are the improvements. So this is something that Peter was, this will be going into dev shortly. What we did was we took about 7,000 PE files that actually started at like 8,000, and then we pruned a bunch of like bogus ones, or files that were like .NET or other things like Binary Ninja intentionally doesn't try to analyze. So we pull these from cloud. So if you're not aware, we have cloud.binary.ninja, and that is our free online decompiler, and it gives us a ton of really nice test files. So these could be any binaries that people have analyzed with cloud. So we just pulled out a pretty big random sample for them, and then we went through and said, do I have type libraries for all of the libraries that this binary is using? And this was the 3.2. We covered 65%. Nice cat, I like it. For 3.2, we were missing about 35%. And there's a long tail on these. Like looking through this, there were hundreds of different libraries. Some of them were like video game binaries that imported like other custom DLLs or like the Qt or a lot of little stuff. But Peter went through and added just a couple of like the most common, like we found, like for example, there was the big issue here was the visual C, right? So if we actually look back at our release list, this has been like one of the bigger kind of outstanding issues here. And I think we split this, originally was a part of a different issue, we split it out. But this added a ton of new library information, and that's like I said, like maybe tonight or tomorrow that actually hits dev. I don't have a sample file. Oh great, I'm getting dosed by or getting a stream bombed by everybody. It's nice though. It means they're watching. So yeah, you can see it's a pretty huge improvement. Just again in this fairly large corpus. The total coverage of type library information on Windows went way up. So that is a really nice improvement. Super happy with that one too. And like I said, that one lands on dev. Oh yeah, you can tell I reinstalled my machine too to get a fresh, clean background. I don't have my usual Binja one. So that's super nice. The one thing it doesn't yet have is if we go back to our issue database. So, and just to clarify, there is the type libraries, right, which is just the type information for a library that's going to be already on Windows that you want to be able to analyze. Galen tried to bomb the stream and just missed it. He's off camera. But there's also function signatures, and so this is when you statically compile MSVCRT into your application. This is far less common. But we do still want to have this laid at some point too. And this is the idea that, again, we should be able to recognize the exact byte patterns, essentially, and then apply the type. So this is like flirt or flare, matching the statically compile stuff. But just the MSVC in general is just a huge improvement for normal, dynamic linking of Windows stuff. So, oops, wrong one. Let's go back here. All right, so it's dev kind of, I think this is not fully landed on dev. Peter's got a couple of things he's doing before that lands, but it is very close. Maybe he landed part of them or something, and he's got a few more, so I don't remember exactly where he's at there on dev, but it would be a little hard for me to reproduce that test of 7,000 binaries live on stream, although it actually goes relatively quickly. It's not too bad. Okay, so last one, well, yeah, the first of our like test branches, and actually this one, I think I'm just gonna pull up I didn't have it working in my Linux VM, so I'm just gonna pull from here. There we go. So this is an enterprise version of Binary Ninja, which I'm just gonna log in, and I've got to like OAuth back into the client, so it does like it's our single sign-on kind of thing, and then what's it doing here? Hold on. Grab this binary. Okay, wrong window. All right, so here is Enterprise. I've showed it off on stream before. I mean, Enterprise itself is collaboration, single sign-on, a bunch of other features. But in this case, I'm just going to grab. Actually, I wonder which one has had the most. Oh, we've got Cheat Engine, Light HTTPD. These are actually usually what we demo. Oh, that's funny. We uploaded all the binaries in Debian Dirtbuster. but I already previously had opened this, so it shows on my recent list of light HTTPD. So Binja itself in Enterprise looks like pretty similar. It doesn't really uh, look all that different from Binja. Um, but what's new? Where is it? There we go. Under the file menu, collaboration, file changelog. So there's now a UI where you can actually see snapshot information. So you can see who's done what. And more importantly, notice this is just like snapshot and then a timestamp. But when I save now, you can save a name snapshot. And so this is, like, so for example, let's actually cancel that. So I'm going to come and I'm going to do a bunch of reversing of this function. And I'm going to call it not main. And I'm going to give local one. I'm just going to name a bunch of variables. Whatever I'm going to do, I'll make some changes. And now I can just automatically save the snapshot, or I can do the save name snapshot, and I can say improved main RE, or whatever I want to call it, improved main, right? And so I'm giving just kind of a name for my collection of changes. And that could have been a bunch of different changes I made. They're all there. And I can, sync that to the server. Oh, actually, it wants me to, that's going to let me name it when I push it anyways. There we go. Yeah, so like I said, I haven't actually used this one yet. This is the first time I've tried it. But now if I see the change log, I'm going to have mine. So not only does this let me see like who's done what, but you optionally can give it a name for the commits you've done. So, yeah, Robert, it's not super hard. Oh, Arnaud, yes. This is a great question. You know what the worst part is? We actually have a test branch that does this. You should ping John on Slack, because I think he can just send you the ones he's already got. He actually has some automation that builds Mako libc types. I don't remember what. I don't think there's anything blocking it other than we just haven't had time to kind of go through it. But that should be coming soon too. So yeah, like exactly. Last like a year ago, August especially, it's changed a ton. So we added a whole bunch of type libraries just a few months ago, and then adding a bunch more now on the Windows side. But yes, we do need to do more on the Mac side, and like I said, we have a system for doing that. Just hasn't been done. So I think Robert, part of what we've been working on is automated infrastructure. So the idea that we can just feed in a libc, it can pull the PDB down, it can apply the types, it can create the signatures, create the types, and package it up kind of automatically. So then we can just feed in a whole bunch of the libcs that we find and kind of build like more of an automated pipeline for that, because that is not something we want to do by hand. So yeah, if you're not an enterprise customer, this probably isn't interesting to you, but I'm excited because I think it's one of the biggest improvements to enterprise in a little while. That's quite nice, and that is live. It's on a test branch. It'll be live probably on dev. Well, we'll see, depending what the holiday time works like. I don't know what everyone's schedule is, but so that Objective-C type libs, right, is not anytime soon, but is it just libc? I believe we do have, don't we have just a libc for Mako? I'm not sure which Noir was talking about. But all right, so that's the enterprise one. Now let me go back into my VM, and we've got two more features. I don't remember if there's any go backs. I think this is it, right? Oh, I was gonna check. I wanted to look which version. Yeah, this has literally been like a month and a half of development. This is a lot of features. This is not even counting like little bug fixes and stuff. This has been a month and a half, all these features. And so the pace of development's been bonkers. We'll be a little slower over the holiday break, as people are kind of off. But yeah, I'm super happy with everything that we got. So all right, let's go back to. We'll leave that up, and I want to, which build was it? CD. So these are two features that are about to land. 4463. All right, which one is 4463? 4463 is Enum Constant. Okay, I think we've already showed this one, right? This was something that we showed off last week that Kat was working on. I think this is just kind of an improved. Like if we hit M on it, right, it's gonna. Did I get the right version? Maybe I didn't. Oh, hold on. I'm not actually in a binary, right? let's try this. There we go. So this is the same thing we saw before. But I think the idea too is you can actually change. Was there a way to like change this? There's an edit feature. Oh yeah, edit. Yeah, there we go. You can edit it live. That's right. I think we saw that last time. So you all have already seen that if you were here last week. If not, this is also one of the top kind of requested features if you're working with a platform that has a lot of enums. And like for example, if you're on a PE file and you load like a PDB or you load a bunch of type libraries into it, you'll have a bunch to choose from. So this is nice. You can filter and search. It'll automatically choose the ones that match, or you can just see like all the enums and then choose, but like, specifically telling me like it doesn't match any of the members. So, but on that note, I realized, did I actually miss this? Did I skip it? Yeah, I almost missed it. The other one here on dev was the import export. So again, if you've been watching the stream, you may have already seen this, but I mentioned if you've got type information, this import header file. So this is also live on dev. And I believe this one has a menu under analysis. Yeah, analysis, import header file or export header file. So if you have, for example, you've got like user32.ell with a bunch of enums types, you can load it up, you can apply the PDB, get a whole bunch of type information, then you can export, oops, I hit the wrong button. You can export the header file and you can give it, let's put that in 3.3, poppy.h, and then, right, you would have all of those types exported as like a header, and then you can, open up some other file instead that maybe uses, calls user32 or calls something else, and you want to like apply a bunch of those enums, right? So you would do that here. So let's say you open up this file, and then you want to import header file, and you would point it at that same file, right? Oh, and that actually got fixed. That was one little bug. I think before it would only show files that ended in, yeah, like that wildcard matching wasn't there, but that works fine. You can see it obviously. It wait, is that matching or did I? No, actually, it did not. No, I think that is still bugged. I need to make a note of that. Or actually, you know what? I am on a test branch here, so it's probably just this test branch doesn't have it. I believe yeah, because this is the enum dialog test branch, but I believe on dev, and let's just confirm that. Should dev on dev, if I I should be hitting the number. So another tip there is you can just hit 1 to load that file. Import header file. Ooh, yeah, this is definitely different. Yeah, this has definitely seen some improvements. You can see it's giving you some hints of like things you might want to give it on the compiler flags. And yeah, there we go. Now we're actually matching all of the headers correctly. Yeah, the syntax in the Qt file picker to like filter stuff. Come on in. Aw, we have food. Thanks.
If you need it.
I also realized I forgot to bring in people when I was talking about their features. So I'm talking about import header. Do you want to come in and hang out?
Sure.
All right. So this is, yeah, I've been doing a bad job. I was supposed to like remember.
I got half a slice of pizza left, but.
Well, oh, careful the cord.
Yeah, no.
You're gonna eat the. I tried to. Yeah, we kind of helped take this down, but it's dangerous.
We need more of them.
There's not a lot of room in here. So
Hello.
Glenn's on stream. Yay!
So many types. All of the types.
Try out the inline editing in the enum dialog. Oh yeah. We're gonna do that next too. So this is perfect. Okay, we've got we're not blocking anything in the stream, are we?
Probably not.
I think we're good. So the import and export header file information. So I got a hint that I was doing things wrong before. Oh, there's a tooltip.
Yeah.
There's a tooltip now.
Courtesy of John, he was like, "Yo, you gotta make tooltips on those."
That's actually pretty great. This one I think is
That
a
one
little
is a
more.
tooltip too. You have to wait.
And I need a new line in there.
Yeah, probably.
In the system headers. Okay, so this is based on your current OS, not the file you're looking at then? Or where does this...
Those are. So if you have a file like, say, the headers for Git, and it includes like standard IO, you don't want all of the types in standard IO. You just want the ones in like git.h. So it will give you only the ones in the files that are like user files that aren't like system headers.
Okay. System types will only be included if they're... So, okay, by default, that's what you were describing is the default behavior.
Default,
You turn this on and it's like you get everything.
yeah, you can get all of them.
Okay.
You know, you do sharp include windows.h
Yeah,
and like,
third of it.
congratulations, you have all of windows.h.
Yeah, settle down and wait a while as you scroll through the
Probably
type
not
list.
what you want.
So, yeah.
But sometimes it's what you want, so that's why it's there.
And that's why it's also not the default.
Yeah.
Okay, now explain this one then, because...
All right, so yeah, naming on this one was a bit funky, but basically, if you export types from Binary Ninja, it does a couple like fancy things in the types, so it'll put like padding in the structures, and calling convention information, which normally,
Yeah, for example,
like-
like if you've got a type that you've made,
yeah,
this is something we can do, but C can't really do. Like, there's no C syntax for like, I want 100 bytes, but I don't know what's in it. Right?
yeah. So when you export the type, okay, yeah, that works.
Whatever, just do something.
Mhm.
Now, if I export header file,
If you export the header,
call it one right. Well, let's put it in 3.3.
you have so many directories.
Got a couple.
Are
right.
you gonna Vim the file?
Is that not the right way to do this?
That works.
I don't have anything set up on this.
Yeah. So
Okay, so like,
there's a whole bunch of macros at the top of
Mhm.
the exported header, so that you can include these in a regular C parser.
yeah, and it would be like, okay, that's a
yeah.
thing, and not
You say,
not choke
okay,
on it.
underpacked doesn't mean anything,
Right.
so it just kind of.
But it at least exists. It won't.
Yeah.
It won't fail when it sees. Or actually, it's
Yeah,
another
it
one.
just
Like,
turns into nothing.
offset's a good example, right? That's what I
Yeah.
just showed. So I made something that had empty stuff in it, and if we go and look, that's
No, it'll do
wrong
padding.
offset. Sorry, is it padding is the one I want?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe? No? Okay. What'd you name your structure?
That's a good question. What did I name it? I named it
Struct
struct under one. Very.
All right, how to do it.
Oh,
Oh, all right.
that's not good.
That's not right.
That's not what
Well,
should
it's a
have done.
good thing we tested it.
Hey. All right. So
Yeah.
make a note.
That's surprisingly few notes. This stream's going pretty well.
It has been. I have this only the third note so far.
Yeah.
Packed. Oh, I guess I got to add that tooltip new line too. Tooltip. Hey, Amy, welcome. You know what? I'll give you a quick review at the end of all the features. At least I'll talk through them so you can catch them. And of course, there's always the VOD, but I'll do a quick one that way you don't have to
Figure out how this happens.
watch the whole thing.
It's supposed to
Yeah,
put padding.
This is like a regression, right? Because
Yeah.
like I've seen this work before.
It's worked before.
Tooltip on first.
Should go grab my machine and see if I can fix it while you're streaming.
Do it. Checkbox. Tooltip on first checkbox on import dialog. All right, we're doing it live. Okay, so tooltip and then packed
Well,
export.
we were back up.
All right. So we'll figure out. That would should basically
should
say
work.
something like, padding. This is like a length, or is it a? I don't know what the syntax is for it.
It's like an attribute, so it just goes in front of a type, and it's like, oh, there's space here.
So it'll be yeah. Yeah, it would have had all these bytes, not
Yeah.
or all
All right,
these
try something else instead.
markers. All right, yeah. So, well, that'll be probably fixed very shortly when it's a regression. Those are usually pretty good. Okay, so Amy, let me go back. I'll give you a quick recap. And this will also remind me because I was supposed to bring in more people on the stream, and I was forgetting. So, let's zoom out extra far. You can see our mess here. See, it looks so much cleaner and nicer
Wow, look at
when you
that.
zoom in.
You
And
can
it-
really see the limits of the backdrop.
here we go. I know it's not very wide. It's a very little. The lights barely cover it, but
Pretty good.
that's all right. That's why we keep it small. No one needs to see our faces. So, Amy, what you missed was this first one resulted in dramatically improved heuristic detection. So if you don't have type information, we're trying to heuristically analyze it. Or even if it's something with types and it's a var args, right? And the heuristics have to kind of try to figure out how many arguments that thinks are there. We previously to the latest dev, you would see things would propagate incorrectly. So once one was wrong and had like bogus extra parameters, everything that called it up in the call tree at that point would also have probably like extra bogus parameters. And again, this is where it's like a calling convention where it's like a register based calling convention, and it's not immediately obvious how many like what's a parameter and what's not necessarily, or for which function it is. And so that got dramatically improved. The specific example, we had kind of two side by sides, and you can see a whole bunch of functions that all have the exact right, which you'd expect number of arguments, and then ones that were like just extra free params. So it's something that people have complained about before, and essentially it's much improved so that it's liable to not get it wrong. Now, if you can always fix it, you could always hit Y, put the exact number of arguments. Oh, this is good. I mean, yeah, you should actually get decompilation. That's the theory, right? Yeah, glad to hear it. Peter replies with a sweating emoji, like, oh no, like if it didn't, we'd be in trouble. But Objective-C support was improved. If you're working on Objective-C, both support for LVARs and chain fix-ups, which are used a lot in latest Ventura binaries. Both are now supported. These are all in dev. Everything here. This is probably like really. How do I make the font bigger in this? Really? I can't like Control-Shift+. Text edit is lame.
Ugh. System font.
Ugh.
Enjoy.
All right. Thanks, Ubuntu. All right. See, I should have done a terminal in Vim. It would have been better.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Joe. Joe, actually, you know what? I also showed off snapshot updates, and I forgot to do that with you too. But Joe asks, will snapshot updates and also
snapshot naming?
The naming of snapshots and the browser that shows the snapshot history.
Currently, it's not in any of the commercial ones just because there's not much to do with it. Like, the whole point was for collaboration, like, you can see what your other people are doing.
But if I want to revert back to a previous state, for example.
Yes, okay, so there is an actual browser for all the database snapshots that's part of collaboration that we might be porting back. Plans for that are kind of shaky because it's kind of integrated pretty well right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say
possibly.
I would like that feature. That's been one of the things we've wanted a visual UI for. I've made a bunch of changes, and we've kind of been promising people like, hey, your databases already have this information.
I mean, all the APIs are there, in fact. You can just use the database API, the snapshot API, just the front end.
Oh no, we're gonna get like somebody like doing terrible things with a UI plugin.
I fully expect somebody to do terrible things to their database.
But it is possible. So yes,
I think someone was even asking about it in Slack last week, and it was like, maybe not.
You can do it.
Projects and snapshots.
I think it's the one before it, Robert. Actually, I think it's not mobile. Like we've been shuffling around releases. In fact, they've got new names now, right? So now we're calling them after sci-fi planets. We talked about that a little bit last week. So Arrakis is the current one, and this is kind of like an in-between release. Like I said, we've got all the stuff we've been demoing now. It doesn't have a specific focus the way we did like with the previous 3.2, which were Windows. And we've got milestones. So I think Braze is specifically about importing from other tools.
A lot of integration.
Like it's more about like we want to have automation work. So we're kind of like we're pushing back, unfortunately, then the embedded in the mobile release. So it looks like it's the mobile release because we originally had that out after the embedded release, but we actually pushed out embedded. So I think it's Coruscant. Coruscant? 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 I don't know, Star Wars, right? Oh, that's right. Yeah, Brian also added that one.
Point.
Yeah. So again, like this is a non-exhaustive list of things coming out in 3.3. We've got more than that. This is just the ones that are kind of like visually things we're demoing. So this you can see is the container one. This is more project, yeah. So that one is. Yeah, we'll see. We're trying to keep the releases shorter. So again. Yeah, it would be nice if we have like a 2-month gap between Arrakis and Braze, but we'll see.
Figured out what the bug with the padding and the structures is.
So yeah, Eric, that's what I like about like a bunch of releases, right? We very much stole like that idea of like do them alphabetically.
It's so convenient.
Yeah, you at least know they're
you can
like
sort them and they just sort.
There's a lot of benefits.
And it doesn't sort 1 before 10?
I was debating even like on the tweet announcement, do we have, or do I call it Arrakis, or we said 3.3
This
because
definitely won't come back to bite us 26 releases from now.
listen, you just wrap around. It's totally fine. By that point, nobody will care.
Yeah.
Croissant. I missed that one earlier.
Croissant.
So good.
Okay, but I did
Hello, Action.
I figured out the struct bug.
Okay, struck bug. Was it?
It's just not implemented.
What do you mean that this was like working?
Yeah, I know it was, and
What?
now it's working better.
Now it's working better.
Look, now it actually does the thing. The padding is specifically the thing that it wasn't doing.
But like I thought I saw it doing padding before.
Yeah, no, it was doing it over here and somewhere else.
Okay.
So
All right.
if you hit Y on a structure in the types view, it'll have the padding.
That's where it was. Okay.
It's this special
Okay.
printing of the structure just for types view, which is
So I applied this. Oh, I love that feature. I love that feature.
what did it do?
It's like the
Yeah,
type you
no,
enter
no,
is
it's
your
good, but what did it do?
Well, nothing yet. It's asking me whether I
It's
want
a
to.
very spicy suggestion it's got there.
Yeah. I think in this case,
What happens if you hit pointer? I bet
I
it'll
mean,
make you.
I don't actually want a pointer in this case, but let's do it.
Yeah, no. It's
Okay.
made a very confusing type.
That's.
What is that?
It's nice that it.
Oh, it named it struct one. Oh, you're. Oh,
Wait,
weird.
what did I do wrong?
Oh, that's also. Look at all these features we're thinking up right now.
Hold on. What did I? Okay, what's going on here?
Try just struct one.
I'm just gonna do this. Can I hit S on this? I can.
Oh my god.
That's so good. That's exactly what I wanted to have happen. All right, so here's the thing. Let's do this. We're gonna call this Glenn.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
The one that works or the one that doesn't?
Well, hopefully the one that works. Clean Glenn. Okay, so
So
now
if you hit Y on it in the structs editor.
or here, right?
no,
here,
that changes
it's
the
gonna be
type of the
here.
data variable.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is.
That's the part that works.
That's the thing that needed to happen.
Okay, so the code's there to do it just in
That
the
is
wrong
coming
place.
soon, TM.
Yeah, soon that will actually, when you go to analysis and export header file, you will get that.
Soon it will do that.
Yep. Okay. So that makes sense. Well, good. I mean, this is why we test things on dev,
Yep.
and that import export
That's
is
why we
rather
test things on stream because the demo gods won't.
right.
They won't find your
If
bugs
you
if you
listen,
want it to
if
work.
you try to fake out the demo gods and you're like, oh, we're gonna test a feature, but we're not really gonna demo it, you're not gonna find the bugs. If you actually demo it for real, you're gonna find all the bugs.
Find all the bugs.
We've decided to weaponize the demo gods.
It's so effective.
Yeah, that's what the stream is. This we fully admit we have bugs in our product, and we find them when we stream way more frequently. We could test for hours.
And it's way less embarrassing than a demo to a customer.
Well, I mean, these are customers.
I guess true.
But like that's fine. These are also friends.
I
These
mean,
are
they're
not
in a stream chat, so they can
yeah. If they're in
tell us directly.
if they're on stream, they're more than just customers. All right. So let's see. We figured that out. We talked about snapshot viewer. Talked about import, export. Very soon we will have that code copied over, I assume. All right. So here's our list. Name snapshots. Did you do anything else that I forgot to?
Nothing on your
No.
list.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the glance. See, I meant to put on this list who I was going to bring it. So let me.
Enjoy. I'm gonna disappear.
Yeah.
And go finish my
Go send either Peter or John in, and we'll talk about their
I'll let
features.
them decide if they-
Yeah. They can fight over it. Okay. So we'll bring them back in. We'll talk about those new features. And again, Amy, this is what we were working on earlier. And then we've got Rusty and Kat. Kat, we got on chat. Welcome.
Dude, I've heard you've been throwing me under the bus
Which bus did I throw you
for
under?
so many features with the Mako type libraries, with Objective C. You've been throwing me under all the
I
bus.
just said, do you want to come in and talk about it? That's all I said.
Yeah.
And you said no. And that's fine. But you're here now.
Let's get straight to it.
All right. So we threw this on you like 3 days ago.
Yes.
All right. Lots of heads up. I've already kind of shown off the feature a little bit, the array creation, because I totally forgot.
Show the original.
I did. Yeah, we did all that. So I did the basic stuff. So let's talk about what I wanted you to talk about is Amy didn't see the beginning of it though, I think. But like the idea is that you can select stuff.
Is
You can
this a
hit.
30 hertz monitor you're using?
It's a little laggy. It's going through a capture card. Don't worry about it.
Right.
It's not great. It is actually 60 hertz, believe it or not. Okay. So like if I trigger the asterisk on something that's not a bunch of variables of the same type, it doesn't do anything. If I hit 8 first, and then I hit, or anything else where it's, all the same type.
You know that thing you were just saying about finding bugs on stream?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so when you select a bunch of blank space and then press star, it should infer the count instead of making it 1.
Okay.
It
With
doesn't-
whatever the default type size is.
Yes.
Right?
So the
Yeah,
default
that's
in
fair.
this case is always just 32-bit
Yeah.
int. But it should infer, based on the size of your selection, how many you want.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. I'll put it in the stream channel afterwards. Count type size from selection. This is a good pizza. Is this O1's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Across.
If anybody ever comes to Melbourne, Florida, Mr. O1's pizzas. That's good stuff. Bugs are just misunderstood features.
Why did you invent every bug in our product?
That's a great question.
My fault.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
you're just
My
gonna
fault,
own that?
guys. Accidentally made every bug.
The real customers were the friends we made along the way. Or the real friends were the customers we made along the way. I feel like I don't know. I'm not sure what the difference there is, but yeah, it is. Hey, Brindley, welcome.
I can't read this book.
It wasn't a crash. It was a fast fail. Fast quick exit. Yeah, we built in lots of ways to exit very quickly. Yes. Okay. So exactly.
Yeah,
Joe
so-
wants to see, and this is what the feature actually does, right? Like, if you want to like select, like the whole thing, and so
Yeah,
this is where
the old workflow was fine. Like if let's say you wanted to select a huge region and make that an array of just regular 4-byte ints, 4 and then star, and that works well.
Yeah.
But that becomes more troubling when you want to select something that spans more than just one screen width, and you don't want to sit there scrolling. I mean, in some cases for
or if you want to apply a structure, right? Like if I want to set a structure here, so I've got my Glen struct, right?
yeah,
This is gonna work.
should.
See, I'm doing something wrong. Why isn't
When did this happen?
I don't know. Well, this has been a feature, but like sometimes it's really smart, but in this case, that's like a bug. Yeah. Why is Glen struct not working? I'm convinced I'm doing something wrong. Like I have to type def it or something first, but like I forget. I don't do good with types.
No, you should just type struct. I mean, it will
Yeah.
add the.
I
our input box should add the struct prefix if you don't type def it. If there's no ambiguity as to what it is, but
Don't put a semicolon in the type dialog.
Is that it?
Yes.
It's a semicolon.
I can't believe that's what did it.
Wow. Okay.
that's pretty bad.
Glenn fixed it off, or like found it. It was the semicolon. Okay. See, I've been tempting the demo gods.
Brindley says hi. Says it's been a while since he watched the stream, but great work.
Welcome back. I'll hit you up on Slack afterwards. Want to chat and catch up. Sorry about the news I saw on Twitter, but that's the whole thing. But yeah, like glad you're chilling. It's a good release. We got so many features. It's been solid.
Fast, a lot of features for a small cycle.
All right, so here though, I've got my struct. It's
Yeah.
hex 60 bytes big. Like if I want to make 3 of these or 4 of these, for example.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if this works right now. So you just press
Do it
star.
live?
Like actually.
So remember about the tempting the demo gods? Hold on.
Yeah.
If I do it here,
No, that definitely should not work.
is it just structs that aren't working? Yeah.
Maybe. Well, no, I did that earlier. So just go put the cursor anywhere that's not there, and then star.
Okay.
So, what type of binary? Elf. Just give it. Yeah, you can give it a.
I'll give it a Glen. We'll do like
And then-
5 Glens.
Yeah,
An array of 5
the
Glens.
more the merrier.
And there we go. It's applying all of our structs there.
Yes.
Okay. So that worked there.
Now, if you hit star there now, we'll see if this part works.
Oh, if it's already an array?
Yes. So
Oh,
the
okay.
idea is that if you already have an array and you hit star, it should just pull out the type of the array. Essentially make it a just array in place. So it'll pull out the type that's already in there, pull out the count that's already in there. If you now want to make 10 Glens, so you have even more, you can go ahead. Well,
Did I not hit enter?
you entered 5 again.
Did I? I thought I hit. All right. Star. 10. Oh, I didn't. I hit 10 on the numpad, which I don't have numlock on this keyboard
Yes.
apparently right now. All right.
So, yeah. Now
And
there's
there we go.
10 of them.
Yep.
And then also, if you scroll down some more, just make a freestanding variable that's not a structure, I guess, because apparently that's broken. Make it like a U16.
Okay. You mean like just hit 2?
Yes. So now if you hit star on one of those, it'll just put whatever variables underneath your cursor as the thing that you want to make an array.
And I could pick, 20 of those.
Yeah.
And make an array of those.
So if you open that again,
Implicit instead of implicit. Oh yeah, Glenn's fixing it live on stream. It'll be on Deb before we're done with the stream probably. All right,
go ahead and open it again.
open the just hit
Yeah.
asterisk again on it.
So
Yep.
the box that's there next to item count,
right.
which is the exact. This is a drop down that has one item right now, because that's useful. Ideally,
Because I made you push it. Let's be
Yes,
honest. I was
yes.
like, John, I want to demo this. I don't want another test
it
branch.
has to be on dev by yesterday.
Yeah, would you please push this?
But-
So yeah, I
Yeah,
made him do it.
The idea here is that part of the thing that this dialog solves is like it wasn't hard to make arrays before if you just selected, hit 4, hit star. That was pretty easy. The thing that this mainly solves is when you want to make a huge array, and one of those cases is maybe you have a section in your binary that is an array of an entire thing. So for Objective C, right, you might have your selector references section, which is just pointers from start to end with no space in between. It is just packed of pointers. So a good case for that would be create an array at the beginning, and ideally that drop down would have an option called fill to end of section or fill until next variable, where you want to kind of just scaffold arrays. Like if you use the create array dialog in IDA, which works a bit differently, it will kind of like warn you if you're about to overwrite another variable at the end. So if you start creating an array in blank space, it'll say, hey, the maximum size of this array is theoretically 300 elements, assuming that there is another variable at some point after that.
We just want to let that be the choice you make, and then it figures out automatically
So-
without.
Ideally, once that is done, when you click the drop down in the item count, you can click fill until end of section or fill until next variable. It will compute how many you can fit there without overwriting whatever comes after it, and then it will create an array.
So, Joe, to your question, this is not a feature that will help that situation where like you want to, and that's actually I think IDA has that option as a create array, but don't make it an array. So it's a create array dialog box.
What happens if you? Maybe I'm dreaming of a feature. I could have sworn if
Okay.
you make something an array, that you can then unarray it. That maybe that's not something that's real, but
Unarray it by,
if you right click on is there a way to unarray that?
I mean, undefined the top variable, but that'll just
Okay, no.
undefine the whole thing, I think.
That should be like a thing, maybe.
Yeah. So here's the question. So, and this IDA does have this feature, but it annoys me that it is in.
Use the API.
Yeah, I almost answered that. That was
Good answer.
I was thinking about that.
That's such a good snippet example for using data variable stuff with snippets is get the data variable here.
You know what
it's
it
an
could
array.
do? You could do a snippet where it's like you create the current array and you just or current item and you give it a count and it just goes and creates those following it automatically. As a
Yes,
snippet.
that would be more direct. If you do the snippet to make it from an array to not an array, then you have to learn how to do the get data variable, get type, and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I thought that's a good snippet teaching example of doing something basic.
Yeah, but like again, it's like wait,
And then Peter has the point. Like you can already do that by selecting a huge
Sure.
chunk and then hitting 4. But
if
you
it's
just
one of
can't-
those sizes.
if
But
it's something that you can easily select on a screen.
you can't be like I want to make that struct 10 times in a row, but not put it into an array.
Yes.
Although
Or you can
There's-
say I want to make this next 4 gigabytes a.
there's not really a downside to putting it in an array, is there? I guess you'd
It-
see it as a reference in the
Depends
decompilation
on how
that
you
way.
want to see it in the decompilation. Because if they're genuinely distinct elements that are not part of the same, array, then
Yeah.
I guess seeing them
It
separately
would be confusing if you had them chunked together.
I mean, which is the same thing with the selector references in Objective C. I mean, I used that as an example earlier as a section which canonically is filled with pointers, but
It's not really an array, but you
it's
can just
not
make
an
it an array
array.
more.
It's visualizing it as an array is not helpful. So
All right. Yeah, that's a good question, Joe. I will at a minimum look at putting up a snippet for
in the,
duplicating types.
someone says, in the past, I've done that. Create a non-array array via the API to avoid UI slowdown on huge arrays of structs. Have there been any improvements there? The new array dialog is sweet. I don't know how bad rendering tons of structs in an array is. And I don't know if that's any worse than just rendering tons of them in a row. But I mean, it sounds like it is based on
I
the
think
comments.
there's still an open issue for that. Peter might actually be able to chime in with more info on that.
Joe says, I don't know that the 4-8 was a thing that's useful.
Yeah, so I was doing that a lot in the past. Like you just hit 8 right now, or hit 4, 2, 1, and it's just gonna create like
This
all the
came up
appropriate.
in user studies and was a thing. If you right click now,
Yep.
it should go to type first
Yeah,
one.
first one right up top.
That's a treat that as a shortcut guide for all of the hotkeys that do that kind of stuff.
Including these are some
can do
DF and
sign
minus
and-
are nice. Yeah.
Yeah, D and F work, or I don't know if IDA does F for float size, but D works just like in IDA. And then you can toggle the sign, make
D is like
pointer.
the lamer version of these.
Yeah,
in
if you
my
just want to
opinion.
spend more time
Yeah.
pressing it.
If you like hitting keys extra unnecessarily.
Or if you can only be bothered to remember one shortcut, then I suppose
Because
compromise.
numbers are real hard. Yeah. So like for a lot of situations, that's all you need. But I still think it's a useful question. Like if it
Yeah, Ethan
Okay.
said that rendering
The
5
array.
structs in a row is faster than rendering 5 structs in an array.
No, I think that's true, and I think it has to do with how linear view
I mean, I believe
works.
you.
So yeah,
It probably is.
Yep.
But that is odd that works that way.
All right. So radar dialog, upcoming features include section and variable. Oh, question for chat: if y'all have any feedback of like, okay, think about how you would use that array creation dialog, and if there's a different type, like I said, the default's just going to be like an element count, but it will probably be element count up to the next whatever it is, right? So the out of the box behavior will probably just be like, oh, I'm gonna do a count, but I'm gonna predict a smart count and figure out either the next section or code or whatever variable, whatever anything else that obscures it. Highlight a block. So it's not really a bug, and the reason it did that, I saw that too. Like if I select this, it's kind of a bug, and if I hit 1 then afterwards, it doesn't select the full thing. So if you go 8 and then 1, because it's only doing a 1 on the last byte highlight, it doesn't know.
Oh, yeah.
So the highlight doesn't map. I guess that's technically a bug.
Ethan says that it only starts happening at like several thousand structures, so it's
Performance-wise.
super common.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but no, it's a thing. I've heard that report from others, and I don't think it's been changed.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. The decompilation, you want it to be not doing that. Selection is wrong. Okay. All right. Well, let's get Peter in here.
I will go summon
Can you
Peter.
tell him to bring in a piece of pizza if there's any left?
Do you have a flavor preference?
Pepperoni, please, or meat of sorts.
Alrighty.
I like this. This is nice.
Bye, stream.
Bye, John. All right, so we'll bring Peter in, and he can do a much better job explaining some of the type library stuff. Ooh, and we haven't shown Rusty's. Okay, so we did do enum constant. We've already seen that.
Hello.
Welcome, Peter. Welcome to the stream. I really need to angle the mic a little better when I have other people. Ooh, there we go. That's all right.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, let us know, Chad, if anybody's ever too quiet. So, okay, so I already showed your stats. I brought those. Oh, here we go. Let's do it again. Let people. Oh, I love this. I meant for you to send it with. I meant for you to send it with Peter, because now it's like I asked the intern to go get me food.
I already asked him to get it. He's the one that picked up the food.
I know. It was great. It was
Go into it.
really good. So I just pulled up.
Are we supposed to feel bad about that?
Yeah, we're not supposed to. I don't like abusing interns. Although we do it as a joke more than anything. I think we get food for them more than they get food for us.
That's probably true.
But all right, so here's the stats. So tell me, which libraries were added for this improvement?
Yeah. So the main one was
MSVCRT 140.
Wasn't
that
no. UCR gosh, I'm blanking on the name now.
I remember seeing the output of one of them, and it had like something 140. It was a specific like, libc.
Yeah. So there's VC common 14, I think, and Yeah, put me on the spot, and
Welcome to
I
my
don't
world.
remember.
Welcome to my
I
world.
don't
This is what I do every
remember
week.
the names of them. Like if you open up a binary, though, like a
Oh.
common binary, um,
Hold on, let me
but basically it was MSVCRT and the dependencies to that, which are kind of the most common things. So those like the Visual Studio 14 runtime, the UCRT base, I think, and UCRT base D, the debug version of that. And then there was a
VC
few
runtime
others.
40 was.
Yeah, VC runtime 14, not 40. And yeah, and then I started adding a few others, like WinSpool was also very common, and PSAPI, and yeah. So basically,
Wait, hold on, sorry, real quick. I just want to say something because I want to talk to Kat in the side channel. You said inline editing, right? Where you right click and do this, edit enum. Is that the one? Because I did that. I did that already. If that's the one you're talking about, if there's a different one, then let me know. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So a
Oh.
couple of things you can see. Wow, that's
Wait, hold on. I'll go back to that.
oh.
She says you can double click. What do you double click? Double click here. Double click here. Oh, neat. Okay, I didn't know that. That's why she was saying you got to make sure to cut that. Okay,
Cool.
so you can change this number to like something else. And now does it, okay, the question then is, does it change the type globally or does it copy it and then make that the copy that's applied at this location if I do it? That's my only question. I'm not sure I have an intuition. And can I undo? No, I cannot undo. That's all right. I think in this case, it's pretty easy to guess. But all right, sorry, Peter, I cut you off on. Okay, so let's go back to,
Yeah, so go to triage view in this binary.
this is not a PE file.
Oh, well, you have any PE files?
I don't think this is a PE file. Let me see. This is not.
So this is an example, though. If you see, I don't know if this was in 3.2, but you can see in the library section, I think that was added in, yeah, I think we added that in 3.2. But you can see the, you've got it, do you have a
So
PE
I'm gonna
file?
pull, I'm gonna pull up staple just to. Oops.
Yeah,
Actually
Stable
close it.
has this as well. Because we didn't
All
have
right,
this.
there's dev. Too many versions. Okay, I have PE files. I don't know if I have one here. Oh, I do. LDB. Right, the SEH one that Rusty gave me. So of course that's going to be a valid. All right, so let's pull up. Which build do I need to be on? No, it doesn't matter. This is any recent dev will do, right?
Yep.
Now, triage summary.
Yeah, so
There we go.
right, and probably if you pull up the very latest dev, PSAPI will even be there. So one of the things that was added in 3.2, if you actually highlight over those libraries, it will tell you what the type library associated with that was. So in Windows, things aren't quite so easy because Microsoft invented this beautiful thing called API sets. By beautiful, I mean
Painful and horrific.
yes.
Yeah.
And essentially what it is like, I don't know, like just thousands of like alternate names for libraries that map to, something like kernel 32.
It's like file system symlinks, but for libraries. Is that like a good? I don't know, I've been trying to find a good analogy for it.
Yeah, essentially. But like it's like there's like a set of APIs which are in like kernel 32 that
This
are
is the
mapped
latest dev,
into.
by the way, unless there's like a new dev beyond this one that I missed
Okay.
during the stream. Did you push it before the stream?
I pushed it.
Dang it! Save.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The one I pushed at 5:04.
After stream start.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah, that one has those numbers in there.
Sweet.
So what those are essentially, those stats are basically, we took 7,000 binaries and found out what the total set of libraries are that are called.
Hey, look at that.
Hey, yeah.
Beautiful.
The total set of libraries that are.
Ooh, Robert has a good explanation. So it's an abstraction of functions and namespace. Yeah, it's like a Python module class. Like you could put multiple classes into one module just as like a namespace organization.
Yeah.
It's yes, thank you, Kay. I'm a little slow on that on the update. I love how chat knows the latest version of Dev better than I do. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, we took this entire set of like all the libraries and then mapped and saw how many of those were hits versus misses, and like basically 90% of our of all imports we had libraries for now. Yeah.
Like by volume of
and
imports.
this number I'm guessing would be way higher if we were actually at the API level.
Yeah. So like for example, like we added PS API, and so
Right. So find the things that are
where's the PS API ones here? Like
imported.
That one is. Oh, actually, you know what? Wait, why does that say no library? It's here.
Well, so that is.
Oh, that's the
API. That's at the API layer.
actually
So perhaps those particular APIs are missing from that library, even though we have that library. So we're going to see that here as well. But apparently we don't have get module file info, whatever.
All right, that goes on the list.
Yeah.
We'll look at that one. Get module information. Right, but so again, yeah, if we look at the volume of functions here, like obviously like kernel, so the fact that we had kernel 32 a while ago.
Right, kernel 32 gets one hit, right? But how many
actual
APIs in there are hits as well?
Yeah, so one of the things what we're going to do is we're going to rerun these stats.
Of course, like to maybe people aren't even that familiar with what type libraries are to begin with, is the importance of type libraries is whenever you have a binary that's interfacing with another binary, it's going to be importing a set of APIs, and there's no way to know what the
number of parameters,
what the number of parameters or any of the types of parameters, any of that is. All we know is like, oh, there's a name and it's in a module. So what the type libraries are is like, oh, let's pretend we actually know, exactly what it's looking up.
Well, and we're not pretending, but we know. We actually analyzed that library. Hopefully, right?
For the most part,
if we had perfect ground truth, if we knew, because sometimes, like in the case of the Windows libraries, they may not even publish,
right.
PDs
but we're mostly correct in so much that there's we can't guarantee like a namespace collision, right?
A module library, like you could name your library kernel
libc and have my memcopy and have memcopy and have it take 4 parameters instead of 3. So
yeah, that's fair.
Mostly correct.
It is, except in the case of extreme incompetence or maliciousness, is generally going to be far more useful.
Yeah. So then we can bring in all that type information, and then we can type propagate it all throughout. So that means all your calls to externals now have parameters when they might not have had parameters, because if we don't have
we showed actually an example of that earlier in the stream where we had to do the infer it, or even if there's variadic functions, we have to guess
we're left with heuristics. It's kind of looks like it's pushing 4 parameters to the
or
stack.
If it's register, like good
or
luck,
if it's register, you're just like
much harder.
Yeah, you're just left guessing. So
this was a big improvement to Windows. I mentioned that the signatures, where we've actually statically compiling, is not in Dev yet. Right. But this should, for most binaries that have imports anyway, should be a dramatic improvement.
We really need to do that analysis to figure out how common.
That was one of our. Yes, we were talking about this. In fact, chat, if you have good ideas, one of our questions was, is there like a standard string that shows up in like, MSV
Statically
CRT or
linked
like any
MSV CRT,
somebody who's
yeah.
like statically linked something? Like how can we, because again with the 7,000 binaries, we can go through and analyze and figure out what are the libraries that are the most common that we're missing. It's
But we
more
haven't
difficult to
built-
do
yeah,
that
we
for a
haven't.
static a static import. So that's something we got to figure out. But if y'all have ideas on that, or if you have questions for Peter while he's here, now's a good time. DLL proxy hell. Yes, DLL proxy hell I think is the best actual name for that that situation. But
and in fact, the way we have to figure out what this is I just have a big dictionary in Python, a big okay, look up this
name in all
this
of the
name
libraries.
and what base library does that correspond to, and then the inverse mapping as well I need to have, because if I'm going to now open up PS API, I need to know all
What
the
sort of
names that it's
dependencies.
ever called,
Yeah.
so that I know
Mm.
that all the alternate names that this type library has. So
Sweet. All right, so that's we got a good list. And again, this is like a month and a half of development, which is crazy. What else we got? I haven't even shown off the SEH stuff, and that was actually one of the first questions. I didn't intentionally do like clickbaity, like the title is the thing that I saved to last. It just happened to be. Oh, here you go, a question for you. Yeah, that's a great question. Whatever happened to component views?
it's coming still slowly. Yeah, we're planning on working on this stuff after next release.
And it is some portions of that are likely to be a new thing that we're calling Sidekick, which will be because it's a machine learning model that does a lot of that, and so some of that will actually be like a separate plugin service add-on to Binary Ninja, where you'll like talk to like the server instead of shipping massive
We haven't done
train
we haven't
database.
figured out what components are going where.
Right. So to be clear, not everything is necessary. Like some of it, components themselves will be a feature in Core
Right.
Ninja.
There's
already
already the components API. You can even
Yeah.
look at the API. There's a API right now that allows you to create components and add functions to components and data variables to
Yeah.
components. There's no UI for it. We are working on the UI. The UI for the components view is likely going to come out soon.
For like the project and
yeah.
the embedded release. Yeah. So Joe, the components system will be built into everything, and other like projects and the ability to like load multiple binaries and or like to like have like this hierarchical view, that'll be in everything. The thing called Sidekick will probably be a separate paid service. We haven't figured out exactly how, and that will be the thing that will automatically do a bunch of stuff like create structures and names and clustering and
potentially automatic componentization as well.
Yeah. So like to be able to like take, for example, like right now, maybe when you load a PDB, for example, like a C++ namespace will be componentized, right? So maybe you have components that are based on names. Maybe Binja Core will do that. But what Sidekick would do, Sidekick can create components that you don't actually have concrete debug information for. It will do it by just understanding the code and the relationships between functions, and to say like these things are related, these things are related. That application of it is a part of Sidekick. We may also make a version of it free. We don't know. We're still working through that. It might be
Still
certainly
early stages.
Yeah, there will be there will be probably also a version of it that'll live in like enterprise, where like enterprise customers can have the actual machine learning model as an add-on to like go into an offline database, because not everyone wants to use a cloud service for obvious reasons. But yeah, we're still figuring out the logistics of that. So the core component system and a bunch of the debug information that we're already parsing will leverage that. But the automatic, oh, that's true. Yeah, Kat's pointing out you could actually use the components, but like again, without the UI, it's not nearly as useful. So hopefully we'll get the UI soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and Thomas, you agree with about 90% of our company, and then the other 10% feels the opposite. They're like, oh man, doing the core analysis APIs is the worst. Just let me design a UI. So thankfully we have not everyone's on.
Important.
Yeah, it's good to have that perspective too. So yeah, that's a great question. All right, you can hang out or you can send Rusty in if he wants to come and let's do the Rusty feature. So he's been working on the SEH prologue, which was the very first guy. I forget now who was it. Thomas who asked for that. Somebody asked for. Let me get rid of all those. That one is way too large. It is so hot in here because you have the door closed because it's everyone's being loud and hanging out outside. So I apologize for the heat, especially Rusty who spends a good chunk of his time up north. All right, wrong version. So let's kill that. We are gonna run version 4461. And so again, anything you see with like this number after it is a test build. And it means it's a feature that we've got internally for testing. It's not yet on dev, but they're all of the things that are there will be in the dev in the next short period of time, hopefully. Although actually, I think Rusty is going on vacation soon, so I don't know if this will hit dev or not before
Probably
then.
not,
But
because shipping a brand new feature and then leaving for 2 weeks,
taking
is not
off and
very
being
nice.
like, I hope it doesn't break. Bye. Yeah. So this one probably won't live there. And I already have LDB or not LDB, LDB. All right, so so first, for people that are already familiar with the SEH, issue, can you describe sort of what the problem is that this branch fixes?
So there's these functions like SCH prologue and SCH epilogue. You can just go to it in the symbols list
Yeah. There we go.
and just do like
Cross references.
assembly. No, just
To
describe
actually
what
see
they
what
are.
it did. I got you.
Yeah.
Yep.
just
Let's
click
back
on the
up.
function. Yeah. So these are basically functions that take the SCH, which is structured exception handling. It's for exception handling in 32-bit Windows. And they decided to take the prologue and epilogue to set up the exception chains and put them in a function
Which makes sense.
to
You're gonna
make
have to
sense.
do it all the time.
It reduces code size because you can see this function's got a fair amount of instructions in it.
44 cross references.
And every function that has an exception handler or any unwinding at all has to set up one of these. So it makes sense. The problem is it's weird. It does all these pushes to the stack, takes the return address, puts it back on the stack, and returns to it to jump with the stack in a different spot. So this really isn't a function.
That's nasty.
It's a shared prologue and shared function epilogue. So our solution to this is we recognize these and then inline them in the IL in the new version.
And so is this using the actual workflow API or is it?
This is not using workflows.
Okay.
This is built into the core now. So if you right click in function properties on that, edit function properties, you'll see there's a new checkbox inline during analysis.
Oh wow.
This just automatically gets checked
Yeah.
for these. It recognizes these patterns.
But couldn't this be manually set for another
Yes,
function?
you can set it on
Anything else?
any function, although it's not going to work for all of them in the current iteration.
Okay.
For example, like if you've got some weird construct where you're gonna do a jump table using a function.
That would be weird to have like a jump table.
It usually
as, like,
only
a
happens
stub or
on like an
something.
ARM chip or something where you don't have like return addresses pushed onto the stack. That doesn't work because of some internal limitations, but if you have a common function that's used all over the place and you just want it inline, you can check that box and it'll probably work.
Nice. And there is also the actual function inliner workflow, but it's a little more cumbersome than just setting that. So that might, I don't know if that ends up being more robust or not. I don't know how different the implementations are. But all right, so this being inline means, and now what's the net effect of the improvement then, right?
So
Now
if you
that
go
this is
to
happening
go to low level IL now
on this function here, yeah.
So you'll notice there's no call to SCH prologue in the IO.
It's just a go-to.
You see a push to a return address.
Yeah.
And then all the code that you saw in the other function.
So this is
and then
SH
you have
prologue,
a pop
just,
at the end and then a go to that return address.
Yeah.
So it inlined the IL.
Makes sense. And so now then when we move progressively higher,
So if you go to that same function on stable,
Yep. Actually, I'm going to switch these around only because I had them that way before, so I'm always consistent. Left is new and right is old. Thank you, Linux. And let's Control C that. Let analysis finish going, and we're both at a high level IL on both of them. And actually,
so right away you can notice over on the right on stable, you can see these star EVP plus 8. Like it can't figure out the stack. It has no idea what's going on. So none of the stack variables are resolved. But on the right, you have all your variables. It actually discovered a lot of things that broke. Like you can see, you can't even see the call to heap free. It just broke. So that's all fixed now because it actually understands the stack now.
So it was throwing off all the stack alignment, which just breaks everything. Yeah, that makes a lot. So it's it's funny because this there it is. It's actually the heap free is way over here ordered in with things.
It's just
but
it's very confused.
It's gonna be it's gonna be wrong. So you're gonna get actually correct analysis.
Now one nice thing would be to add structures to the FS base stuff. So you could actually see the exception record structure
over here
that it's setting
showing
up
up
instead of just these random writes to stack variables.
Yeah, that seems doable. Like in general, I don't know if it makes the code freeze. I think we have a little bit of time in January. We'll see if that makes it or not. But it's already gonna dramatically improve analysis.
Yeah, and now it dramatically improves the quality on anything that uses this. Any 32-bit Windows binary now gets stack variables correctly instead of breaking entirely.
Yeah, and it's doubly bad because not only does it is it 32-bit binaries where that's how they do the exception handling, but also the calling convention on 32-bit x86 is going to be like doubly impacted by that as well too.
Yeah.
So
because you can see over on the right, it didn't even detect that there was an argument to that function.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So it's like it's entirely wrong because it can't figure out the stack.
Yeah. And again, we can look at anywhere that does it by just looking for the these way here. If I just switch back to disassembly, then I will see
You're in the SH prologue.
Oh, how did it do that?
It's because you were in one of the instructions that was part of it.
Oh, that makes sense. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. But yeah, so just all the cross references, so you can find all the places where that, like literally every one of these functions will now be more accurate. So it's a pretty actually how many total has 1,000 functions, but 44 of them were basically just going to guaranteed to be wrong before. So, and a lot of these are probably going to be.
And then all the broken calling conventions would propagate and
anything they called that, yeah, because the number of arguments were wrong in those, like this here, versus if we. Sure enough, that's wrong. Yep. Sweet. Awesome. All right. Any questions? 32-bit just got way better. And of course, the type libraries that Peter just added included both 64-bit and 32-bit. So same improvement there in terms of coverage for your import libraries. And actually, we could. Oh, I think we already showed that off. Like this is literally already the. So let's see if you've seen this, but actually no, it won't be on your test branch. But we showed how PSAPI, for example, is one of the new type libraries where you have coverage information or type information. So the two of those together, having better type libraries and having the SEH handling is pretty good. So yeah, I think those plus the enumeration handling were like three that sort of slipped from the Windows release. They were originally were part of the scheduled Windows release, and they're getting in a little bit late, but in general that should really improve Windows analysis. So pretty happy with that. Cool. Y'all got any final questions for Rusty? I think that's the last of our features on the list so far. Like I said, there's something that I know we've not even covered because we've either already talked about. Like I'd forgotten about the function bar up top. And I was like in a weird. I was at the top of the file and I was like, what is this extra line up here? And I had forgotten that feature got added when it was comparing dev and stable. But there's other ones I'm sure that we've also missed. So yeah, I if we are not already doing much better on latest dev, well actually, like I said, this particular change is not yet on dev. So give it a couple weeks until this one lands on dev.
It'll be pushed immediately after I get back from vacation, so that I can actually fix bugs after they inevitably happen.
As opposed to like, so if we're pushing, for example, if we're pushing a new change like the way the create array dialog happens, like, you know, it's more powerful than it was before, that will just land on dev and it's not a big deal because it's new functionality. But anything like this where it's dramatically rewriting the IO, like that's
like there's changes to the way medium level IO translation works. It's very I don't want to push that in a fundamental change. 2 weeks.
Yep. So that one we don't want to break dev for people or do something that causes some unintended side effects. So the good news is you see it coming. The bad news is you're going to wait a few more weeks until it's available. But yeah, definitely let us know if you see. Oh, okay. So if you would like to note something, I assume that's like a precursor to a longer message. So I'll make sure we don't end the stream. We hang out. I'll let Rusty go if he wants to get out or if he wants to hang out too. He's welcome to. Oh, here we go. So yeah, let us know what you're doing. But oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the other thing that's so weird to like if you look at like the release lately, you know, we had decompilation. I keep forgetting how recently it was. It was 2021, right? That 2.0 first landed. So it's been less than 2 years that we've had any high level IL at all. Is it? Oh no, was it a little before that? No, I think it was.
It was 2020. It was summer of 2020.
Oh, was it summer 2020? Okay, I'm off then. Yeah, you're right. I think it was 3.0 that has been all this year, just everything on 3.0. Yeah, it's just super fast. So yeah, we're super happy with the kind of the rate of improvement, and we hope y'all continue to give us feedback, give us like the more you let us know when you run into problems, the faster it gets better because we know kind of what we're working on next. So yep. I think that's awesome. Yeah, really glad to hear that. We actually had a couple other people tell us that just recently too. Somebody DM'd me on the Binge Slack and said the exact same thing earlier today, that they were finally kind of like able to fully convert. So definitely when you've got folks that have reasons that they haven't been able to, let us know. And we're still working on a few little things that might hold people back. But and then we'll get to go to the fun stuff, right? So like the component stuff, some of the newer the machine learning, the automatic analysis, we get to start like kind of going beyond. Language agnostic is another one. So one of the things that Rusty's gonna be working on next is better C++ support. And eventually we're thinking about like what does it look like to decompile these other languages, not just to C, but like actually decompile to other different languages, to other targets. So I think there's a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. And of course, we're still gonna be working on improving decompiler, improving, support things. And we've got a lot of projects and features coming with embedded. We've got, mobile specific stuff. So always stuff to do. But thanks again for hanging out. This time it will be the last one of the year. I know I said that last time, and it wasn't quite. But I'm glad we got the Christmas lights up just for one final one. So. Yep. Oh yeah. And so that's what we said, that the next release is really focused on better enabling people to switch, because I know there's a lot of people who just have too much, kind of history in other databases and stuff. So, yeah, we'll be working on that. So sweet. All right. Well, thanks again for hanging out, everybody. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or just take a break if you get that. It's a good time of year to relax, and we'll be back in the new year, and then we'll jump right into this release. So you'll be able to get the new stable coming up then. So sweet. Take care. We'll talk to you later.